Hi guys, so I'd like to explain the relationship between structured water and crystals. So you are a crystal. You are a crystalline being. And when you start to understand yourself on a biological level, physiological level, electrical level, a different level than most people go into their bodies, you start to understand why creating structured water in your body is so important. So we're moving from a carbon-based to a crystalline-based body. Our DNA is changing from 6 protons, 6 electrons, 6 neutrons to 6 protons, 1 neutron, and 6 electrons. So basically what's happening is that the physiology of our body is changing. So we are structured water. We are made out of 75% water, and of that water, it's structured. It has a perfect geometric structure to it. We are living water. If you've heard of people talk about the living liquid crystal, that is you, that is what you are. And so what has kept you from being your crystallized self? Toxins, pollutants in our environment, mucus in our bodies, disease, anything that has stopped that crystallization structure to come about. And that is why detox is so important, because we're getting back to our original divine blueprint, which is the crystalline structure. So what happens when you start to understand that if we are structured water, why is it so important to create more structure? What does it even do? When you have a structure, it fits perfectly into your cell. When you have a perfect structure, I'll say that again, it fits into your cell. Whereas when you don't have a structure, water cannot go into a cell. It's called bulk water as opposed to small molecular water, which is small water. Now, when you have this small water, it's like throwing softballs through a chain link fence. That's bulk water. That is water without structure. Well, when you have structured water, it's like throwing marbles through a chain link fence. It actually goes into your body. So let's talk about the science of the structure. When you create a perfect structure, what happens is a resonance starts to happen. Information, results, properties start to come about. So when you have a specific structure, it has specific properties. So for instance, this crystal right here, it's a beautiful blue crystal. You see the structure on it? See how beautiful that is? It emits, it protects me against negative energy. That's what this specific crystal does. Every single crystal out there has a specific structure. Each crystal does its own thing, right? It has its own properties that it emits. It receives information. It can actually hold the information, and your body can do the same thing. Your body is a crystal. And moving into this crystalline being, we start to understand that creating a structure of the water in our body is so crucial for us to understand what our potential of our DNA is able to do. Because of that structure, we create resonance. When we are structured, you're able to absorb information and transmit information easier. You're also able to hold memory. Your body is water. It's able to hold memory, okay? And so what happens is that resonance starts to happen when you create more structure. Resonance is basically when everything becomes coherent. And it becomes coherent because our bodies are made that way. Our bodies aren't made to be stopped. It's almost like, just imagine a river of water going through my body and big boulders stopping that river of flowing. That's what's keeping you from flowing, the energy flowing throughout your body. And when we have those dams happening, blockages start to happen like mucus and buildup and calcification. So creating more structure in your body creates more of a crystalline base in your body, and you are able to receive information and transmit that information. And when you create resonance, you have the ability to raise your frequency in your body. We all are doing things on this path of ascension to raise our frequencies, right? And so when you start to look at yourself as a crystal, You are a liquid crystal. You are a fractal. You have the potential to resonate at a very high frequency. And when that starts to happen, different things actually turn on in the body. And I'll go into this a little bit now, but basically what happens is when you create a high frequency in your body, this Kundalini energy, if you've ever had like a Kundalini awakening, you guys know exactly what I'm talking about. But the Kundalini energy in your body is this energy of beautiful awakening spiritual energy that moves up the 33 vertebrae of your spine. And as it does that, it's activating. And once it reaches your pineal gland swells up. Now, this is why fluoride keeps the pineal gland calcified and hardened, because it doesn't have the ability to swell up. But what happens is that while let's say you have a healthy pineal gland and it's not calcified, you're drinking structured water and it starts to decalcify. The pineal gland has a reservoir of water around it made of piezoluminescent crystals. This is very important in understanding why the pineal gland is so important for the water in your body to function at its highest, because this is the antenna. This is the part of you that is spiritual. And that's why they say, is your third eye awake yet? Because as the Kundalini energy goes up and you have a healthy pineal gland, it will actually swell that pineal gland. And as you swell that pineal gland, there is fluid in the third ventricle of your brain. It is the melanin fluid in the third ventricle of your brain that is blocked from entering the fourth ventricle of your brain. So, but what's right there is the pituitary gland. So as your pineal gland starts swelling up, because of this energy, because you're raising your frequency, because you've decalcified the pineal gland, because you're drinking structured water, it will actually start to swell up and become like this trap door. The pituitary gland becomes this opening, and this fluid will sink in. And it's if you guys have ever heard of the sacred secretion, I want to invite you guys to watch that video. But the sacred secretion is basically, we have the potential to drink from our own secretions in our brain. And these secretions create antennas. They're basically spiritual antennas. And there's a whole science to this. This is why I'm actually sharing this, is because we are crystalline beings and we hold information. The first computers were crystal. They weren't crystal until they realized that they could actually save information in the crystalline structure. So computers, radios, all of these different electronics are actually based off of crystals. I'm talking crystals. You are a crystal. You are a vibrant, beautiful crystal. And as you start to awaken to your divine power, you are going to crystallize. And what happens is, if you're awake and you know what it feels like to walk around in a different dimension than other people, you know exactly what I'm talking about. You know, like I was walking around the other day and I was like, it's crazy because I literally feel like I'm walking in a different dimension than a lot of society. It's because you've awakened. You've crystallized your DNA to a certain extent that you've woken up. Your third eye is now opening, and maybe your Kundalini energy rose and helped facilitate that awakening. But your frequency is high. You can actually test this with Kirlian photography, and they test the aura of the person, and people that are more awake or more enlightened or take care of themselves in that conscious way, they actually have a higher frequency. And so like monks have a very high frequency. And so you can research this a little bit further. I know Dr. Joe Dispenza talks about this as well, but basically as we raise our frequency, we create resonance with other people. And when I say like, oh, I met somebody and they resonated with me, like they resonated with the water in my body, with the frequency of my body. My DNA resonates at a certain vibration. And when you meet other people, yeah, man, they resonate with me. And so what happens when you resonate with somebody? 1 + 2 = 3. When you go and resonate with somebody, you flow with them. You enter what I like to call a portal, but something becomes birthed from that. And that's the beautiful part about the science of structured water and crystals, because we are a living crystal, and the structure is so important to create in your body. And what distorts that structure is like I was saying in the beginning, the toxins, the mucus, and all that. That's why detoxing is so important. And this is ancient knowledge. If you guys want to learn more about it, you can look up alchemy. You can look up the science of structured water. When water becomes structured, it actually has specific properties, just like crystals do. You know, like this one helps me veer off negative energy. When you create this structure in your body actually has the ability to reduce oxidation. Oxidation is like when you have an apple and you cut it in half, it turns brown. That's oxidation. My body has the ability to reduce oxidation. I'm 28 years old, about to be 29, and I have been anti-aging for a while now because I have been creating that structured water in my body. You can also go out and ground on the earth. That creates structured water in the body. Juicing creates structured water in the body. Sunlight creates structured water in the body. Infrared saunas create structured water in the body. Do you see how the structure is so important? And taking that a step further, and I won't go too much down the wormhole, but when you start to understand DNA is held together by water, by hydrogen bonds. We wouldn't have DNA if it wasn't for the water. So the water, the bio waters, the structured waters in your body actually control the expression of your DNA. And the DNA therefore then creates everything else and creates the RNA and the amino acids, and then therefore goes on to the organs and the rest of the body. So what's so beautiful about this, you guys, is that we are water. And as we awaken to the beautiful properties of our structured water, who knows what the potential is? Seriously, who knows what that potential is? So thank you guys so much for listening. Isn't this so beautiful? My sister got it for me. I'm like, ooh, it's a water crystal. Bye guys, love you.